Welcome to Tell Me More, the Allsteel podcast where design meets innovation and we explore the limitless potential of workspaces. In this exclusive series, we're peeling back the layers of workplace design. From the psychology of colors to the future of hybrid work, join us as we open doors to conversations with industry leaders, architects, and designers who redefine the modern workplace. This is Tell Me More, brought to you by Allsteel, because when it comes to designing the future, there's always more to discover.
Hello and welcome to our latest conversation on the Tell Me More podcast. I am Andrea Gauss, Director of Client Solutions at Allsteel, and with me today I have Lauren. Lauren, tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Dr. Lauren Gant, and I am a Senior Workplace Advisory at Allsteel.
All right.
Happy to be here.
We're glad to have you. We're excited. So thank you for joining us. This is our 6th episode on the conversation of sustainability. So if you've been joining us or if you haven't, we've talked a little bit about the 3 C's, which what we refer to related to chemistry, climate, circularity. Then we talked a little bit about Allsteel's portfolio and how our portfolio, we're making better choices there as well as better impacts. And today we want to kind of roll it all together and talk about how that culminates into a better experience. So we've got 2 big topics that we're going to quickly address here and discuss. The first one is, why do certifications even matter? Why should we care about them? What should we think about when we think about certifications? And then we're going to roll around a little bit in human health. And ultimately the goal here as we explore sustainability, a big chunk of this is because we're humans. We have this human condition in common, and we're trying to create a better experience within the work environment, as well as more globally too. But let's start with certifications. Certifications, I think, fall into 2 big camps. One is the building itself. What is the project goal? What is the certification that we're after? Which things like LEED and WELL would fall into that bucket. And then the second bucket is the product itself, the furniture. What certifications are the manufacturers working towards to get certified? And ultimately those certifications and those points, if you will, help then with the building certification. Lauren, let's start first and talk a little bit about why certifications matter when it pertains to the building.
I think this is a great question, and I love it when people are looking internally about what their goals are and how what tools are available for them to meet those goals. And I think certifications are one of those tools. There's a couple great reasons why I would recommend certifications or why I think they are something to consider. Generally, many certifications are holistic in nature. It's not just one thing, but it's looking at the bigger picture of what is important in sustainability or in human health. It's looking at the culture. It's looking at the design of the space. It's looking at the materials that go into that space. I think often they're research-based as well. We're actually knowing what has meaningful implications for the occupants of a space and trying our best to implement those. I think additionally, one of the major benefits is that with many certifications, there is a regular update process. So it's not just one and done. You don't just check the box and walk away and forget about it, but it's a commitment to maintaining that focus on sustainability and on health.
I really like that, Lauren, because when I think about a building certification and the team of individuals who's involved in that upfront decision-making process around, are we going to go for a WELL, or are we going to go for LEED, or are we going to go for some other version of a certification pertaining to the building? Sometimes those individuals stick around and are part of the long-term facilities care and maintenance, but other times they move on to their next thing, and the certification or the goals that team had, they get lost. So I do like that concept that it has some staying power that we're going to come back to this on an annual basis and rethink what we can do to support those initial goals and efforts.
Yes, and as we learn more, as that research evolves, these standards, these certifications are updating as well. So we are hopefully implementing the latest and greatest as that information becomes available as well. Mm-hmm. I think one other great thing about certifications is that it's almost a shorthand to communicating the efforts that have been done. It's sort of, instead of going through the long list of this is what we're doing for you in your space, it could be just a seal of approval that is more easily interpreted.
You get that plaque, that LEED
That's right.
platinum
That's
plaque.
right.
Yes, I love that. So then on the manufacturer side, I just want to talk a little bit about certifications on the manufacturer side. I really appreciate certifications because as a product, I spent a lot of time in my career in product development. It gives me a measuring stick. So you're talking about research and evolution and change, which is hyper important because sustainability is a journey, not an endpoint. I believe in that. But it helps me as a product developer in the past. I still like to claim as if I am one right now. But this set criteria for our clients and our influencers to be able to then kind of compare what is Allsteel doing versus what are some other guys doing. And I think it's nice to kind of have that as a way to compare across the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think where this could get a little muddy sometimes is just the sheer number of certifications that are available and understanding what is comparable, what is comparable, and what is looking at totally different, aspects of sustainability, what totally different aspects of health, and just sort of a watch out there about, they're not all focused on the same thing. They're not all apples to apples comparison.
Yep. That's a really good thing to remember. Some, we're talking about our products, some of them are multi-attribute, meaning they're measuring across the 3 C's of carbon, chemistry, circularity, versus single attribute, or they're really hyper-focused on something like a Declare label is hyper-focused on chemistry. And then when you look at a building certification, obviously WELL has a different bent, a different lean, a different focus than LEED certification would, as an example. No, I think
right.
That's
Yep. Or RELI is something that we're hearing a little bit about, this new building certification, and that's different than WELL. It has a totally different focus, but just having some understanding of the breadth of options that are out there right now.
Yeah, that's great. I love it when clients first start on their sustainability journey and they're like trying to wrap their arms around all the potentials. It's a really fun thing to participate in and be part of kind of the exploration there.
I think, sorry, I would just say, I think it can be overwhelming that first, how do I even wrestle this to the ground? And I do think that there is, a conversation to say, what can we learn from the certifications? Just what do we, what resonates with us? Let's look at all of them or a lot of them and figure out what aligns with what we're passionate about. I think, does doing all but certification, the impacts are the same if you're doing all of the things and not getting certification. However, there is a little bit of are we keeping up with it? Do people understand what we're doing? So we're here for all of those conversations. I don't think I don't want anyone to feel well, we're not certified, therefore we can't do anything. I think there's room for all of those discussions.
Yeah, no, I think that's a valuable point. We call it the ABCs when a client will go all the way and do everything all but fully certified. They won't pay for that stamp on the wall, as an example. All right, let's transition here. We talked a little bit about certifications. Let's just talk about human health. If we step back a second, why are we doing this? What is the ultimate goal behind sustainability? Obviously, it's human health, it's planet health. What's your perspective on this?
Well, I think that if we are expecting people to be productive or expecting them to want to show up to work and contribute, that we need to be thinking of people and not as cogs in a machine. And it's not, I think we should be thinking about human health holistically and for the sake of those people in the space. But there's also lots of research to show how human health can link to productivity and other measurable outcomes. So I think there's lots of reasons to be thinking about this. And I think the overlap of sustainability and human health is really interesting.
Yeah. When we sum it all up, we say that the combination of the portfolio and the impact that we're doing throughout the supply chain and whatever else ultimately results in a better human experience. That's the ultimate goal. And to your point, Lauren, there's been research, if indoor air quality is at a higher level, people are less stressed, they're more productive, more efficient at their role, at their job. And so I think that's all part and parcel. How we think we pull on one little string and it does one thing, but it really has it's a multiplying effect.
And better air quality is also better for, anyone with compromised immunity or a neurodivergent population. There's great research to show that these things are just good design implications. They're inclusive design implications. They're good for productivity and health overall.
That's right. So when we think about sustainability and the journey that it is, and we think through all the complexities that exist across chemistry, across what's going on with the climate, across how we need to rethink our economies and circularity, the net of this is to think of the human in front of us, the employees and the spaces in which we're creating, and ultimately create spaces that can help people thrive. That, at the end of the day, I think is really ultimately the goal. All right. Any parting words, Lauren? Any other thoughts on this?
I just appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about human health. It's, I think, the overlap with sustainability is really intriguing, and thinking about human health holistically, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well, is something that we're striving to do. And I look forward to continuing to have those conversations.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us for our final kind of wrap-up episodes that relates to sustainability and the Tell Me More podcast.
Thanks, Andrea. Hope you all enjoyed this conversation. Look forward to having more in the future.
And that brings us to the end of another fascinating episode of Tell Me More. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of design and innovation. If you're hungry for more insights and stories, make sure to subscribe to Tell Me More on your preferred podcast platform. As we sign off, remember that the conversation doesn't end here. Connect with us on social media at Allsteel and share your thoughts, questions, or even your favorite moments from the podcast. We love hearing from our engaged and curious audience. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll continue exploring the Design to Do More philosophy. Until then, thanks for listening.